History is full of nations who turn into conquerors. Empires have risen, invading kingdoms and countries as they looked to expand their reigns. We were able to see these things played out with such empires as the Roman, the British, the Mongol, and even the German Empire in the late 1800s, known as the Second Reich. Whether these empires set out to rule with terror or to establish peace, the strong conquering the weak was always a morally ambiguous practice. In these modern times, countries have established themselves and fortified their positions to the point that invasions are all but unheard of. Depending on the country, it would still be possible to stage invasions and take over territories. However, there are certain countries that have such an ability to defend themselves that the act of conquering them is almost certainly impossible. Whether through a strong defense or by way of their unique geography, here are 5 countries that are impossible to invade. Coming in at number 5 is the country of India. Many people may not have considered this country to be such a formidable force, but there are a great many factors that make India such a difficult country to invade. Among the many things that adds to the defensive advantages of India, one is the geography of the country and their ability to use it. On the northern borders of the country lies the Himalayan mountains as well as desert regions. Invasion from the north would be highly difficult. The deserts slow down any enemy advance over the land. The gigantic Himalayan mountains not only make land assaults impossible, but they are so high that many troop transport aircraft cannot fly over. That only leaves the southwestern coast where India has spent a ton of resources building defenses. Any attempt at storming the shores of India would have to navigate waters that are crowded with submarines. Should another country's military actually succeed in breaching India's borders, they would be met by a very well-funded and technologically advanced military. Additionally, as India is the second most populated country in the world, they have an army that's comprised of over 1.4 million soldiers. The nearly limitless manpower that's fueled by a religious fire that only adds to their ferocity. Who would ever think it to be a good idea to try and invade a country with 1.393 billion people living in it? That is the most obvious problem with trying to invade the country of China. Along with this massive population comes a massive army of over 2 million people. To make things even more difficult, the military is commanded by a strict communist government who holds little regard for troops' lives or humane methods of warfare. Along with having the most massive army on Earth, they are also a technological powerhouse. In recent decades, the country has seen tremendous technological growth. So, it would not be any stretch of thought to assume that they would be able to nearly match the technological abilities of other major superpowers, such as the United States. But let's say there was a country unwise enough to attempt an invasion of China. They cross the borders and are ready to begin their campaign. Ahead of them, they have a land area that is the size of the continental United States. Next, they will face an array of geographical features that will hinder or even stop an army in their tracks. Will that military be prepared to cross the Gobi Desert? Could they navigate the massive jungles in the southeastern part of the country? How about the frozen land in Siberia? Finally, there are over 100 huge cities with populations of over 1 million people. If they are able to bring these cities to their knees, would they be able to keep control of them? They would have to leave a sizable force behind and still have enough numbers to continue pushing through the country. No army in the world is big enough to do this over 100 times. Here at number 3, we have Afghanistan. It may come as a surprise to many, seeing as how much attention the country has received from the United States since the early 2000s when the United States waged its war against terror. But think about it. The United States has been conducting military campaigns in Afghanistan since October of 2001. When they finally pulled out their troops in December of 2014, there were still battles being fought. This shows the level of difficulty that even the most powerful army in the world has against Afghanistan. The geography of Afghanistan is one of the biggest difficulties to overcome. The country is pretty much a desert valley that is surrounded by tall and rugged mountains. As the United States has contended with on many occasions, the mountains are where armies retreat to and hide when they are overpowered. While taking shelter in the various cave systems, they would bide their time until a suitable time came for another strike. So, as was the case with the American campaign, it would be hard to know if the enemy is even defeated. The main problem in the country are the terrorist factions who are militarized and always ready to do battle. These terrorist groups, such as the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS, are driven by a sense of divine purpose. Blending in with the general public gives them an ability to get close to the enemies without being spotted. Additionally, they have little regard for collateral damage or civilian casualties. Any invading army would have an incredibly difficult time overcoming these many obstacles. It should be no surprise why Russia comes in at number 2 on our list. History has shown how bad of an idea it is to try and invade this country. Napoleon tried it in 1812 and failed. Hitler tried it during World War II and failed. Each of these instances for very similar reasons that would not change if Russia were invaded today. Obviously, as far as sheer area, Russia is the largest country on Earth. That fact alone is an insurmountable obstacle, but this problem is compounded by the fact that the large majority of this huge country is Arctic and nearly barren. Many armies have fallen simply because of the harsh climate. Russia is also known for having people and soldiers who are as formidable as the land they defend. The country has a long history of communist rule, which in turn has created an army of soldiers who are more hardened than average troops. With iron resolve and a fear of failure, one troop can fight with as much tenacity as 2 average men. Finally, Russia is a technological giant. Remember, not only do they have a successful space program, but they have also designed the most powerful nuclear bomb in history, the Tsar Bomba. Any country capable of these things would meet any invader on their land with tons of ferocity and pinpoint precision. Finally, at number 1 on our list is the United States of America. It is the country that most everyone thought of from the get-go, and rightfully so. America has invested more money into its military than most other countries combined. It's what comes with being the most powerful country on the planet. So many other countries are looking to undermine the United States, they have to focus on defense more. Geographically speaking, America is an enormous country with a multitude of climates and landscapes. There are deserts in Arizona, the Rocky Mountains stretching through Colorado, and further north, great forests in the northwest, the Appalachian Mountains on the east coast, and many more. Such a land would be a challenge even for the largest military. Politically, America has a distinct advantage over any country in the world. They have wisely allied themselves with other superpowers, including Israel, Great Britain, Canada, and Japan, to name a few. If an invasion were ever attempted on American soil, many countries would quickly come to America's aid to fight back the invaders. Finally, the United States has the biggest technological advantage in an invasion scenario. In 2019, they spent $732 billion on national defense. That is more than the next 10 countries combined. Such money is spent on the most advanced weapons, aircraft, ships, and armor in the world. Even things such as spy satellites are used by the military. The unspoken rule with military research and development is, if you can imagine it, then the military has already looked into it. Luckily, in today's age, we don't see many countries looking to invade and take over other countries. But, as tensions rise and as countries battle for power, it isn't out of the realm of possibility. While these countries may have a defensive advantage, they still have to be prepared. Click the link on screen now to check out another video just like this one. Trust me, you won't regret it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.